Ocean Waves. Hi everyone, I'm Zach and I like movies, and I'm here to talk to you about the brand new Paul Thomas Anderson film, One Battle After Another. So, California's own Paul Thomas Anderson. If you have ever been online in film forums and film discussion boards and been badgered by an annoying cinephile like me, then you would know that Paul Thomas Anderson is one of the very best to have ever done it. Really ever since he started with his very small and intimate, but nevertheless very self-assured debut, Sydney. It's the real title Sydney, but it's actually called Hard Aid. But I don't know, it doesn't matter. Very, very small, but again, very self-assured debut. But then very quickly became very quickly became like a darling of film lovers everywhere, and especially like rocketed into the mainstream with these very zany, balls to the wall, just confident, coked out, shamelessly Robert Altman and Martin Scorsese influenced ensemble pieces, both Boogie Nights and eventually Magnolia. But after that, he started to slow down. He started to develop this new style of shooting with a much more eye for the kinds of more longer film lengths, more wider, more composed wide shots. He kicked the dust, and he eventually, and I think that really started with his back in 2002 with his oddball rom-com Punch Drunk Love, starring Adam the Sandman Sandler as the best autistic character I've ever felt seen by. And once again really set himself as one of the absolute masters of the film craft with his momentous film from 2007, There Will Be Blood. Truly hard to know what to say about that film that hasn't already been said. So much ink and oil has been spilled over that movie. It is a masterpiece of all. And really, ever since There Will Be Blood, Anderson's career and style has sort of jockeyed between two different forms of filmmaking, where either A, he would do these much more patient, assuredly composed shootings and these very intensely performed and focused character dramas, with The Master and Phantom Thread, to more loosely plotted and with more tension on tone and character and vibe, and really just like these really fun hangout comedies that are still nonetheless beautifully made, both Licorice Pizza and Inherent Vice. Masterpieces all. Like, really the thing that I think really makes Paul Thomas Anderson stand out, even amongst his peers, is just the absolute consistency of the quality of his work. Like, if you have even compared to someone like a Spielberg or Scorsese, whose filmography racks up to well into the double digits, you could definitely tear some things out. Like, oh, this is more C tier Spielberg, but with Scorsese, there's like a point where it reaches the good shit. Paul Thomas Anderson exclusively makes the good shit. One Battle After Another is the good shit. Like, I'm telling you right now, stop watching this and just go watch this movie if you haven't already. This is unequivocally a masterpiece. This is his fourth or fifth masterpiece. I count fifth because Inherent Vice is amazing. I watched that again this rewatch. It's so good. But my God, this feels this is a movie that I was not expecting. Not just really capture the anxiety of the current zeitgeist and the constant insistent tension of just trying to make it through the day with all the news going on in the world and in America right now, but still never really still feeling being so idiosyncratic to how Paul just shoots his films and writes his characters. It's so, I can't believe this movie exists as it does. But thank this would not have been greenlit today. Thank God this was greenlit 2 years ago or something. So what it's about, it stars Leonardo DiCaprio. as Bob Ferguson. He is a burnout former revolutionary of a revolutionary group called the French 75, and in the past, in this indeterminate, it's sort of indeterminate now. This is also unique because this is Anderson's most contemporary film. Most of his films, most of his films are almost exclusively period pieces. You get like The Master and Phantom Thread are like in the 50s, like these Inherent Vice and Licorice Pizza, they're like in the early 70s. But here, this is sort of not really setting a date, but it's definitely like now. This isn't like an unspecified time. That is definitely the current day, and he shacks up with one of his other revolutionaries, Philadelphia, and they have a kid. But then things go bad. She leaves, gets captured, and things fall apart from there. And now, cut 16 years later, Bob is a burnout. He's now basically, if the dude was a girl dad, and the girl he is the dad of is Willa Ferguson, who's played by Chase Infiniti, who was quite the discovery, and and they are now under the pursuit of one of the biggest pieces of work I think Anderson has ever written. He is by Captain Stephen J. Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn, and they're now, and from that they're like, it becomes this like odyssey through contemporary America. There is a lot of familiar imagery here, what with like militarized police, civil disobedience, police crackdowns, immigration detentions. And it's all just so it's so tense and suspenseful, but so funny and so damn entertaining too. My God. And let me get a few things out of the way first as far as the characters go. Like, every performer here is absolutely wonderful. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, this is really, like, he's been so really particularly pretty choosy with his roles lately. Don't Look Up notwithstanding, I feel he's been really so brilliantly picking out what, the kinds of roles to like really dig into, like with Killers of the Flower Moon and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I feel like this has been like really I think this is probably in like top 10 of even recent Leonardo DiCaprio works. I think he's been so smart about choosing roles that age with him. And Bob definitely feels like that. He feels he's a character who's lost and adrift. He's like trying to cope with the failures of the revolution and his own personal life with drugs. And he's constantly smoking and vaping, just having hilarious reactions. Just being thrown into this insanity. Chase Infiniti, she's, like I said, she's such a discovery. I gotta see where she ends, where she goes from here. She can only go up, I think. But then also there's a wonderful performance from Benicio del Toro, and he is Sensei Sergio, who's, God, he's so damn cool. I had to wait like a long weekend to see this finally today, and I've already been seeing like people just raving over just how effortlessly cool he is. Like, there's a moment where he's pulled over by the cops, and he just kind of coolly, casually dances out, follows the instructions and stuff. It's like, I've had a few small beers. And it's like, that's the stand of a cheerleader right there. My God, just casually, just so, like, also this movie's very pro. This movie is surprisingly pro drinking and driving. Man. But then, like, we get Sean Penn here, and like, I don't think I've seen Sean Penn this good in decades. Like, really, he's like Lockjaw. Imagine if RFK Jr. tried to be the Terminator. but like still like with Lockjaw, he like tries to project this like very American militarized police macho on like wherever he goes with like his tight shirt and his like stupid buzz cut hair, and oh my god, like, but he can't fight off these like weird facial tics he keeps doing, or that weird like straight backed walk that he does, and even late in the movie he like has a moment that like really called to mind Sterling Hayden from Doctor Strangelove, where he's like very tight-lipped and serious about preserving all my precious bodily fluids. And he's trying to, and like every single one, and like all the people that he's trying to impress are these just like absolutely stupid white supremacists, and I gotta say, as far as like the concept it has about revolutionary action, it feels, I think it has some very much like, it's nuanced in what it's trying to say, because like it's very much like it's very much pro like self-determination and revolutionary actions, and with like, because like the French 75 are framed as in the right, but ultimately like in the story are also portrayed as very flawed people, and a lot of them are like kind of self-serving characters, and where we get sort of a nice contrast, something nice foil with Sergio's character, with Benicio del Toro, there's this grand stretch of a movie in like the middle of the movie that like focuses on more community organizing, and it's rewarded for that. Much more, he's plays it so compassionately, so cool. He's very in touch with his family, and I feel like I'm giving a little too much away, because like I sort of understand why the marketing for this movie has been kind of weird, because there's a lot happens in this movie, but you kind of don't want to spoil it. You kind of just want to go for the ride and just sort of see where this takes you. And I feel like it's stylistically speaking, this sort of like feels like a really nice synthesis of, Coke Kid Paul Thomas Anderson with a more recent weed dad Paul Thomas Anderson. Just like maintaining this like a sense of like just freeze of still like this like composed, resolute, focused filmmaking inspiration, but also like still feeling kind of laid back at times, and knowing when to just like sort of slow down and breathe, and sort of like let the moment sink in, and like really, and man, it's so impressive how he does it again. Like this movie is like 2 hours and 45-ish minutes. It just flies by. I could easily, like, all of his movies have wonderful pacing, but I could easily see why, like, when this movie ended, I wanted so bad to just like immediately stay and watch it again. I have to see this again. I have to see this for the crowd, because man, this movie, like, I think this is a real crowd pleaser. I really, really believe that this movie absolutely will resonate with people. If only, not just because it's just so entertaining, so amazing, so funny at times, absolute showcase of filmmaking bravura, and just like seeing a movie of this scale, with this much money behind it, money used wisely, but also a movie that like really feels like it understands the moment that we are in politically and socially. Like it is like this like just this is just this roller coaster ride of through what feels like a contemporary of like both the present and what we fear might be a forever future, but it's not forever. And it is and I think that's something that is very interesting for not just Paul's career, but I think is very cathartic in the way that it wraps itself up. Like, this is a movie that is very much very tense at points, points. Like, in no small part thanks to another absolutely stunning score from Anderson's now typical composer Jonny Greenwood. And oh my God, like the use of piano and percussion in the soundtrack is so, God, it's some of the best he's ever done. There's a track here that reminds me very much of like one that he did back in There Will Be Blood. This just slowly building into this like cacophonous sound of concussion that like you don't realize until your heart is like halfway up your throat, because you're so tight. It's just like screaming silently in your seat because like, God, please be okay. And man, at the end of the day, it feels very optimistic. And it has interesting nuanced ideas about it's not like something that's like feels like an easy sort of like political political strong arm. There's no straw man here. I mean, there's some jabs at like there's a really fun gag with Leonardo DiCaprio when he's trying to find a code word. Can't remember the code word when he's on the phone, but like it feels. There's a lot of interesting things that it has to say. It has a lot of things on its mind, but doesn't like give clean, easy picture. It doesn't paint clean pictures of like that feels like walkie political cartoons. And man, it's just so impressive. And I think at the end there is this just an absolutely very cathartic feeling of just like things will be okay. There's a feeling that, and I have to say that there's so impressed. Like the thing about it, I hope I'm making sense. And it's kind of this. I hope I'm making sense right now, but there's a feeling right now that we are sort of trapped in a sort of forever spiral of just absolutely depressing news day in and day out, and it's very, very draining. Like that, there are periods where I feel like I'm sort of looking over the edge into that sort of black pit of darkness that you'd get when you doom scroll, just like hearing horrid news after horrible news and just new horror of just staying informed in 2025 is just very, very defeating. But I think what one battle after another kind of gives you is this feeling of like, ultimately gives you this feeling of that the future is not just something, not that the now is not just worth fighting for, but the future will be too. And it will be, times are scary, things are very scary, but there are also reasons to laugh, especially at our enemies. Our enemies are ridiculous and pathetic, and our enemies, as personified by Lockjaw and the white supremacists he wants so bad to impress. He is scary, but he's also pathetic and weird and horny, we as ourselves in some acts of resistance personally, but also communally, feel very adrift. We feel lost. We feel like we don't know what to do and where to go next. We're all just kind of playing it day by day. But I think movies like this kind of give you a real sense of centering yourself, and I think that is important. And no, watching a movie like One Battle After Another or a show like Andor isn't like praxis, but it does what great art does. It gives you, it not only makes you feel like you are seen and heard and like really and come to better understand the moment that you are living through, but sort of gives you a real sense of you see the light that is there. You see the fire that is always in you, and it's worth fighting for. It's worth protecting. It's worth holding. And I think if nothing else, if this is just an empty platitude, I think something like that is very worthwhile. and it comes in the form of and I think also in terms of acts of resistance, like this doesn't need to be like just resisting the violence of like ice raids, or just the ever looming, the ever here, the fascism in America that is here and it is no longer visiting. I think our media doesn't need to, our media that reflects that doesn't need to be this dreary apocalyptic despot. It can be weird, it can be funny, it can be sexy, and it can be just feel as alive as you do watching Leonardo DiCaprio and Benicio del Toro driving down a highway, chugging Modelo's, and just feeling no fear, feeling like Tom fucking Cruise. And yeah, I think that's what's worthwhile. I think that's what I really left one battle after another. I gotta see this again. I really feel like this will reward not just seeing with a crowd, but seeing it multiple times. And again, this is the quickest 3-hour movie I've ever seen. I really feel like this deserves nothing less than a 10. This is absolutely movie of the year, movie of the decade, maybe. Really, the movie of the moment for now. And yeah. So that's it. You all should really check this out. See it with friends. See it with your family. See it with loved ones. See this movie, please. You will not regret it. And yeah, I'm feeling really good. Times are tough right now. Things are scary. There's a lot of bad hombres out there. They're in the government. They want you panicked. Don't panic. If there's nothing else you can do, don't panic. Be prepared. Stay safe. Love yourself. Stay firm. Love yourself. Love your family. Love your community. Protect each other. And don't forget to lose hope. Because your hope is very important at times like this. Okay, I'm rambling, but this is important to hear. Hope matters when you have it, when you least have it. That's important. All right? If you only believe in the sun when you see it, you'll never make it through the night. And this really lit a fire under me. I'm feeling much better. So just remember that. If you take nothing else from this, don't just watch this movie, but remember to have hope. Remember to strive better. Do work hard and do what you can where you can, no matter how small. It matters. Being happy matters. Having hope matters. Your joy is an act of resistance. And I think that'll be it for now. Viva. I think that'll be it for now. I am Zach. I love movies. I have a lot more movies to watch. What's your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie? Mine's probably still Punch Drunk Love, personally. I mean, but also like I said, he only makes the good shit. And that'll be it for me. I'm Zach. Like movies. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Viva revolution.